Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Hi, Kim.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. You can hear from my voice, I have a little bit of a cold, right? Everyone's got this summer cold.
Right. Actually, I can't remember. I was listening to some physicians and they were talking about how we've all been so cooped up and how sick the kids are getting right now, like RSV, which isn't normal for children to get in the spring or summer, and all these things because we've been locked up and our immune systems are a little bit weaker. So,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
all vaccinated, but still, and so are my children. But like my daughter will go out now on the weekends, come home. She may be not feeling quite well Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I have it. It's
No,
just a little annoying cold we keep passing around. But
right.
anyway, today I wanted to talk about the top 5 sites that we use, my team and your team, to stay productive. Now, this was hard for us to hone down, and I'm not sure we really succeeded to honing it down to just 5, but I think it's going to be great to show the differences in what I use versus what you use and make everyone realize that it takes a lot of systems as you grow your business to run productively. Even though you want to keep it simple, sometimes it's adding systems for each individual type of function.
Right. And I just thought of one that is very important as you were talking that we never even discussed that I'll mention as we get going.
Okay, all right. So, so full disclosure, it was supposed to be only 5 sites, but when Kim and I started comparing, we're like, oh, okay, now it's really 5 categories, and I never changed the title. But so let's talk about email management first, right? Managing my email, I will tell you, go back 4 years, maybe more. And I was like, I had my phone and I had my iPad and I had my computer. And every time I would delete things from my, like emails from my phone, then I'd have to go to my computer and delete them from there. And then if I ever picked up my iPad, then I'd have hundreds of emails. It was crazy. Excuse me. So when I started using Microsoft Office, like the full suite, and getting everything synced, and my team then has at Nancy Gansicoff for email addresses so that I can, if I'm changing team members, I can always have access to the emails eventually if they leave or, right? It's like this consistency in my team. Everybody has an at Nancy Gansicoff for email. Everybody's emails are synced in the way that if I delete from my computer, when I go to my phone, it's not there. So that was a huge thing for my productivity, having all my emails synced and having my team all have a professional looking email from me. What do you use?
We use G Suites. So we use the Gmail system. And I agree with you because I have the iPhone and I tried using the Apple email system that came right on your iPhone or whatever. And I was very frustrated. Like, I'm deleting these emails and they're still showing up when I go. So I have synced Gmail across all my devices and platforms. So that's what we use primarily. And then we have we actually have 3 different Gmail accounts, and then I just log in to one of them. Now, if I want to manage all 3 of them at the same time, you can do it under one and have them forwarded, but I was getting confused and I was so afraid I would answer a client or somebody from the wrong account. And so I have started implementing Spark, which is another email. It's like an app that I can have all 3 of the emails dump in there and manage them all from the Spark app also.
Interesting. Okay. And I have to tell you, this stuff is, I may seem very tech savvy to a lot of people who feel they aren't tech savvy, but I'm really not tech savvy. Like, it's a struggle for me to, when I had to bring on Microsoft Suite and like, how do I do that? And, I had to definitely talk to people who knew what they were doing in order to help me get over that hump of, I don't know what they're talking about. Like, I don't know how to get this working. So there are times that you need technical help. And I have a great IT company that works with small businesses. So if anyone's ever interested, I'd love to refer you to them. So just reach out to me. They are like my IT department whenever anything happens, and they help me with everything. They tap into my computer and they fix things, and it's worth every penny that I pay monthly to just have that emergency person to call and fix things. So, all right. So for email management, I use Microsoft Suite and you use G Suite.
Correct.
Okay, let's talk about project management. Now, this is a monster for coaches and consultants like you. We have a variety of project management softwares we have used, we currently use, and probably new ones we'll use in the future. And I'll just mention for interior designers, there are specific interior design softwares out there that you can use, like Mydoma, and there's a ton of them, design manager and blah, blah, blah. But for just general team productivity and project management, you can also use things like what my team uses. We use Asana. We do use Trello for still some of the client management. And I have used a ton of systems in the past, but we have landed on Asana and Trello as our primary. What do you use?
We use ClickUp, which is kind of like if Trello and Asana got married and had a baby.
So maybe that's my future, but I just can't handle another software right now.
Right. And ClickUp has had its own nuances that have been a challenge for us because I'm used to Trello and I like the layout of the boards because my brain works that way. And so we do have lists like Asana, but then on some we have boards, and what we were trying to do is make it work for content management, which it can, but for the way we do it, we still have to supplement with Airtable. The nice thing I like about the way this ClickUp integration is that I can put my Google Docs right in there, and it's just so seamless back and forth the way that the system is made. So,
yeah, and I like the Trellos and the Asanas. Again, if you learn to use all the features, and this is where I think we all suffer, like we grab a new software, it's working for what we called it in for, like, oh my God, we need a system to help us manage whatever, and we get it, and then we just use it at 1/10 of its capacity, as opposed to knowing fully what these systems can do. And then we start buying more systems because we just never fully learned the first system we learned. Does that make sense that we brought on?
Yes. And our team actually, I try to dedicate 10 or 15 minutes a week to just read up on what's new with ClickUp, maybe follow like if I'm trying to figure out a new system for onboarding new team members, looking to see what templates they have and how other people use it in our industry specifically.
Yes. It's important to keep some time every week for learning and enhancing your knowledge of the systems you currently have. And I know how hard that is, trust me. And there are times we do it really well, and there are times we don't do it for months. And I'm like, wait, this one program has been coming out with tons of enhancements and modifications. Is anyone keeping up with this stuff? And we all look at each other like, no, like we're just using it the way we've always used it. Yet there's now new, improved ways.
Right. And like you have, like I've seen you done in our team meetings and stuff, having a team member. So I have a team member that is ClickUp savvy. Like I assign her, like, hey, there's a new thing. Can you watch this and bring it back to the team and tell us what we need to do? Because as an owner, it's physically impossible to watch all these things. But if you can delegate to it.
You're right. And that's a really good point. Like it's okay as the owner to have one of your team members be the one that keeps up on the technology changes and brings it back to the team.
Right. At least with a different software. So I have one team member that does ClickUp and another one that manages the Dubsado. So that way we all just keep, otherwise it's too hard to stay up on. Like we're paying for these programs, and we might as well use them to the most efficiency to save us time and money.
Time and money and mistakes. So, okay, let's talk about file sharing now. So we talked about email management so far, project management, and now let's talk about file sharing. So we now we still use Google Drive here and there, but mostly we're using SharePoint, which is Microsoft's file storage. So again, I don't have a Mac computer, I have a PC. So we have kind of dove headfirst into the whole Microsoft world as much as we can so far. So we use SharePoint for most of our stuff. What do you use?
We use Google Drive for the majority of it. And then we have clients that will use Dropbox. So we'll do that. And then again, we do implement Airtable here and there.
Okay, I've never used Airtable.
Yeah, Airtable is like Excel or Google Sheets on steroids. And there's just great ways to be able to, especially if you are sharing images, our content. It's great for content sharing files.
Okay. All right. So we do Microsoft SharePoint. There's also Dropbox. There's also Google Drive, and then there's Airtable, and I'm sure there's more. But here's the bottom line: if you're working with people who are not at your physical location, you need to share files. This is a great way to do it. It's
Right.
easy. It's the easiest way we know how. Excuse me. Okay, let's talk about client and team communication, right? So we use Slack for our project management, meaning we have a project that's ongoing, we're doing something new. It has a lot of different steps to get it to the point where we can roll it out. And we are communicating all along the way with the team, the members of the team who are actually working on that project. So we use Slack so that we can keep everyone in the loop with everybody's progress and everyone's decision. And then for a quick, it's not working, typing and getting our point across in Slack. So then we'll use Voxer if we have to communicate verbally to each other so that we can get our point across.
Right. And we use Voxer back and forth between the team members. Our team we tried implementing Slack, but we're not quite big enough. It's just easier for us to quick do a message because it's usually just one-on-one working on a project. We don't have a group of people working on the same project at this time.
Right.
Yeah. And then within ClickUp, they actually have a board where it's set up for communication. And it's really nice right in that system where I can set up, we can have ongoing communication through there. So
see, now here's a perfect example. Now, I believe Microsoft has Teams, which is part of what I pay for in my Microsoft Office suite. Teams could probably replace Slack for me and my team, but we have yet to learn how to use Teams. So, right, here's a perfect example of how in every organization, there's always improvements you can make, and you can put them what we call on the deck, a project in the future of what's going to take a little bit more brain power and a little more time to figure out in order to eliminate a system. But it's just not something we can focus on right now. So there's always improvements to be made, always.
There is. And the one thing that I caution and, kind of warn people about is there's always new software that you can be doing it. But the software is meant to make our jobs easier and to make it more efficient. But if we're always spending time checking out new software, this is kind of where I kind of ran into a little trap at the beginning of my businesses. I'm checking out Asana, I'm checking out Trello, I'm doing that, but I'm never moving my business forward because I'm checking out all these wonderful software programs. And so finding something and trying it, and then if it doesn't work for your team, then put it on deck. Like, okay, we need to find a different project management, but don't start Asana this week and then Trello next week. Oh, well, Kim said ClickUp's good and do ClickUp. You're just asking for a heck of a mess.
It's so true. And I will tell you, the trap I always fall into is if I hire a new person on my team, especially at the management level, they'll be like, I've worked with 5 other clients on this new system and it's great. You should switch everything over. And I'm like, okay, let's switch everything over because I figure that person is really good at that system. So it's going to help if my manager, let's say, or one of my lead team members is comfortable with the software as opposed to trying to teach them what I'm using currently. Let's switch over to what they're comfortable with because it sounds like it's great. I've made that mistake more than once.
Right.
Going with the enthusiasm of a new team member and their knowledge of something. And I'm like, yeah, but all that tends to happen is I switch. I like it, definitely some improvements, but then that person may leave my team eventually. And now I've got this system and I've spent all this money transitioning to a new system. So I like what you're saying is like, try not to just chase things because we're mentioning them. Make sure you need them.
Right.
Make sure your current system that you're using isn't an equivalent and that you don't actually have to switch. All you have to do is take time to learn.
Right. And then knowing what you as the owner of the company need to make it work for you. So the challenge like for ClickUp that I ran into is I had a team member go in and set up everything. Well, after I went in, I was lost. I didn't even know how to use it because it didn't help serve the systems that I needed to make it run efficiently for our company. So what I actually did was took it on paper and wrote down what categories I needed and what I needed to happen in each one of those. And then went back and cleaned up the ClickUp to make it work efficiently for what I needed, because like you say, we're with it. We're going to be the ones that stay with the system. The team members, some stay, which is amazing and awesome when they stay, but a lot of times we'll have that shifting coming in and going, and we've developed a system around a team member, and that team member leaves us, and now we're kind of screwed, basically.
Yes. And I love when people say, you know what, it's not my superpower. I'm the CEO, or I'm the boss, or I'm the designer, or I'm the coach, and I don't need to learn all the things. And no, you don't need to learn them down to the nitty gritty, but you do have to have a general idea how to sign into it,
Right.
how to look at certain things that you will need to know. And yes, if the one team member leaves who knows the system really well, have they recorded videos to show you how to get in and what to do, certain functions? Have you created your training videos around those systems? Like, this is what screws up so many people.
Right. And you might even think that you maybe like ClickUp. I have a folder in there, and that's for every meeting that I have routinely. So the Zoom link for your meeting, team meeting this afternoon, the Zoom link for our meeting on Thursday afternoons, my climbing, everything's right in there. So I didn't think I would need it. I could put it on my calendar, but if something gets deleted, but this way I have a record. And as a CEO, I can't believe how much, once I start implementing the way this project management systems are supposed to work, how much time it saves.
Oh my God, yeah, because you don't have to look for things. You're not always
Right.
like, where are the things? It's
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
Okay, last thing is calendar management. Well, actually, did I combine one, two? Email management, project management, file sharing, team communication, and now let's talk about calendar management. So I use the Google Calendar combined with my OneSub calendar. So my OneSub calendar is for my clients. I use my Google Calendar for my personal stuff, but I
Right.
have it all speak to each other so that a client can't book something I've blocked out for personal. And I can see both my work and my personal together, and so can my team. So they know whether I'm available or not. What do you use?
We use Acuity, and Dubsado also has that ability now. But I started with Acuity and it works, so that's what I stayed with. And Acuity and my Google is synced together, and I rely heavy on my Google Calendar. Like, I block out. The calendar's only good as how much we use it. So.
It's so true. And so many people are resistant to online calendars. And I will tell you, I was totally resistant. I had my day planner I think I have the last 15 years worth of day planners. And about 4 years ago is when I said, okay, I got to get rid of this paper planner, even though I love it. I love having my paper planner.
I still use my paper planner, but what happened was that someone would call and want a meeting, so I'd put it on my paper planner, forget to put it on Google, so then Acuity can't read that I'm busy, and then I would be double booked, and that's just not cool.
Right, so, right. It's definitely not.
I use a combination of both because I like to cross things off, and I like to have a visual quick look of what I'm doing. So,
and if you need, I still have a physical list. I still have paper, even though I'm supposed to be paper free as much as possible. I still have paper because I'm old school. I like writing it down like you. I like checking off. Yeah, took a shower, brushed my teeth, talked to a client. Like, I like to feel accomplished. So I use a combination. Here's the bottom line, everybody. Like, use what works for you.
Right. And if something's not working, ask your friends or your colleagues or people that you trust or know, like, hey, I see that you're successful in this. What systems are you using? And then maybe implement.
Right. But also analyze first. If it's just that the problem is you are not using the systems you already have in place that would be effective if you actually learn them and use them, as opposed to jumping to someone else's system that you're jealous they seem to be so organized. Yeah, it's because they're actually putting in the effort to use the system.
Right. Because I know when I'm starting to get overwhelmed, I start watching videos on product management and time management. If you just followed the systems that were in place, you would have no challenge. But
Exactly. It's so fun. It's like, you know what? There are so many diets in this world. If you actually follow any one of them, you would probably lose weight. Right. So it's the same with all the systems you have in place and purchase. Put time on your calendar to learn a little bit more about each system you already own to see whether it can satisfy some of the gaps you're having in your productivity. Because usually we have the right systems, we're just not using them right.
Right.
or properly or fully. So, all right. So that's Mindset Monday, because I woke up this morning going, oh my God, I have so much to do. And I thought, oh, productivity. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
So thanks for being here with me today.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
All right, everyone. If you're struggling with growing your business, reach out to me. Like, there is truly no reason to struggle alone. It's amazing when you have someone to bounce ideas off of, bounce client issues off of. How should you handle things? That's what I'm all about, helping you be a great CEO of your own business. And when it comes to your social media, if you're struggling with growing your social media, what to do, you don't have time, reach out to Kim, because that's what you do, Kim, right?
Right. And if you have any questions at all, leave them below or message, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, go have a great Monday and a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Have a great week.